All right, so moving on, guys. The third and seemingly final feature that we're going to use for this particular step in our development is the materials. So the materials here are not very easy. I would say that generally speaking, Maxwell is on par with any other renderer in terms of material development and how complex and jargon-filled it truly is. So let's go into it, and I'll show you what I mean. So over here, this little red M on the scene manager, that's your materials menu or palette, I guess you could say. And so right now it says there are no materials in the scene. What you'll have to do is load them in. So right click in that space and you can do a new material. Okay, it shows up as this little gray sphere. Double click that and what you're going to see is this. I will say this, don't get hung up on this, okay guys? We are not going to be making custom materials for a little while. We're going to be using it from a library that I'll show you in a moment, but the reason is I would have to explain to you in great detail all about IOR reflectance, 0 degree, reflectance 90 degree, transmittance, and ND, which I don't even know specifically what that is right now, and force Fresnel. It's a light, reflection feature. But all of these things need to be explained and controlled in a very fine way, because small tweaks to the settings can really mean a huge difference in what your image is going to present. So what we're going to do is you can also grab that and remove the material from the scene, and it'll get rid of it. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to pull from a library, and I've sort of pre-selected a few that I think are going to behave very well for us getting started. And of course it's going to depend on camera angle and your sun settings and everything like that, but I'm going to try to keep it ultra simple for you. So that gallery is known as the MXM Gallery. So when you right click and open up the MXM Gallery menu, it's going to pop up on my other screen again, like it always does. It basically will allow you to search a not extremely extensive library of materials, but generally speaking, it's very good for the applications that we're going to use it for. Again, these are abstract models. They're going to just focus on reflectance, transparencies and translucencies, how just kind of the texture of the material, and we're going to keep it with whites, grays, and maybe an accent color. Okay, so this is perfect for us because when I type in something like white, right, because we're using a lot of whites, I want you to pay close attention to a few things. Obviously the name. And as it loads, it's going to load these little icons, which are incredibly small and very difficult to see the quality of the image. I've not yet figured out how to blow them up and see it in a better way before you import it into your model. But the other thing that I wanted to show you here is this category. Okay, the category is super cool because you can just sort it by category, and you can get all of the architectural materials that have the word white in it. And you would think that there'd be more than 169 white materials in a massive online library, but there really isn't, not in this one. But it doesn't matter because under the architecture ones, just bypass all of them. Okay, I don't really want you guys to be looking at architectural materials right now, which sounds a little funny. What I want you to be looking at is stuff like automotive. Automotive ones are really great because they're super well calibrated for reflectance and, basically just, the glossiness, whether or not it's matte or glossy or satin or something like that. They're really hyper tuned. So it's a good place to start for something like this. Although, actually, the one that I want to bring in, I think, sorry, I'm referencing my list here, is not actually a automotive one. It was called White Glass, and I forget where that is. let's just go by name. So we've got some white ones down here. There it is, white glass. So this one's under category glass, right? That's not that big a deal. But so when you double click it, oh, there you go. Now you can see it. That's how you do it. Okay. So when you double click it, it'll pull up the kind of preview. So if you're thinking about, having a model that's, sleek, smooth, reflects a lot of light, this is an excellent place to start. So we're going to import that one, but I have a very specific use for that in mind that you'll learn about in a moment. We're also probably going to want to look at something that is not quite so reflecting. So let's go back into the MXM Gallery and let's search for plastic. So a plastic, it's usually going to be glossy, but not quite reflecting everything that kind of hits it. Why can't I grab this corner? There we go. And so the one that I want to grab, I believe it's this one right here called white plastic. So see how it doesn't quite reflect everything? So this is going to be a great material for us for the actual building, and that white reflecting one, the reflectance surface is excellent for our ground plane, because being able to reflect the building down into your ground plane provides a little, well, we'll talk about that in a design sense. But anyway, load this one in as well. So we've got white glass and white plastic. Now, the other one that I want us to load in is a, well, we're going to start off with one type of glass for now, and we're just going to stick with a totally translucent glass, and we'll deal with the translucency and opacity in a moment, or maybe by next week, but we're going to just use one type of glass for now. Which one was it? Sun shadows. All right, so just type in glass, because I forget exactly what it was labeled as when I pulled it in. Sun shadows through glass. This is it. Yeah, so this one right here, this one is under the architecture tab. The other one that I actually really like a lot was called windshield. Shop window. Ooh, that's a sharp one. Search. So windshield is a really cool one as well. That might actually be too clear. Maybe this one is the one we want. So this one has a slight blue tint to it. So you'll be able to see it. It won't be too translucent. So this might be a good place for us to start as well. Can't tell if that has dots on it. Anyway, import that one as well. So what we've done is we downloaded them into our model, and we just need to apply it to the materials now. So we go back into our layers, and remember, this is how I kind of outlined the way that we're going to be applying these kinds of materials here for this particular course. And so when we did it before, you'll see back here that we did it using Rhino materials. So what we're going to have to do is remove that material. So you right-click it and you go to Remove Material, and you can do that. I think we can shift-click and remove all the materials. There you go. Yeah. So when you shift-click from one to the next, you guys probably know that hotkey, right? I'm guessing. Anyway, so that gets rid of all the materials, and applying the materials are as simple as this. All you do is you take your element and you just apply it to whatever it is. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I don't want to worry about that yet. So let's take the white glass material, the white plastic material, and let's apply that to our beams We're just going to go with the same material for all of them for now. So all of those beams, and then the 100% opacity plane. All you have to do is just drag it right onto the material, onto the layer, and it'll apply it to the material. And then the other thing I want you to do is just take this windshield glass car and apply it to your 50% and your 15%. Yeah, so you can kind of see the translucency in there. I thought you could see that more. My settings are a lot different than my personal one. Anyway. Okay. All right, so from there, what you can basically do is, and we're just going to start off with our viewport. We're just going to export our viewport for now. But go back to your scene manager under location and make sure you get your your settings correct. So if I want to see, oh, that doesn't seem right. Oh yeah, because that's facing north. Darn, I probably picked a really bad camera angle. But let's go with this. Yeah, I'll stick with like June or July. And then go back into camera and change your preset to be viewport so that it basically is just going to export whatever's in your viewport at that time. And then we're going to send it off to render. So let me pause here for a moment in the video content, and then we'll do the actual rendering stuff and process when we start a new one. But are there any questions about the material applications or downloading at this stage? Yes?
Besides white glass, what are the
White glass, white plastic, and windshield glass, the blue tint one. Any other questions? Okay, I am going to stop and we'll continue in a moment.